You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We want to chat about items that affect the roof of your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money. I personally work with you even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. I don't know if this is a celebration or a word of warning. Cyber Monday. You know, there's so much out there that's for sale, but I'm reading about all these folks that are worried about finances, worried about jobs. Don't overspend. I know it's Cyber Monday, but hey, be careful. Watch out what's going on in the marketplace and don't go overextending yourself. So for me, I'm going to stick with National French Toast Day because I've beaten anorexia and no whipped cream, not even any butter on this one. Okay. National French Toast Day. If you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you know what I'm talking about because we've got a nice video, a nice image right there on the screen to celebrate National French Toast Day. So I don't know, maybe National French Toast Day being this date is after this long weekend. Maybe we just need something that's soothing and subtle and absorbent. Is that a word even? I don't know. We'll figure it out. So National French Toast Day. Let's take a look and see what the markets are doing today. They have been a bit volatile. Dow Jones Industrial Average now down 225 points. The S&P 500 down 28. NASDAQ down 67. Oil is up 46 cents a barrel to $76.74. And we are watching the national averages dropping. Going to go down about another quarter is what I'm going to forecast. Right now, $3.54.6 is the national average. We're at 504 in California. Trying to catch you, Josh. You're at 469 over there in Nevada. Jody's at 408. Brittany's at 326. Really, Brittany? Okay, and Louisiana, 307. I wonder how long it's going to be until our tremendous underwriter, Lori, she's going to be down there at 307 fairly soon, below $3 very soon. 307 right now in Louisiana. Let's see what else is going on. Why are the markets moving down? Well, might be more I don't know. There might be more shutdowns in China. China's vaccines not particularly effective is what they're saying. Although I did see a report this weekend that said 58% of the U.S. deaths from COVID are people that have been vaccinated. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. I just heard that report, so I haven't verified it on my own. But if that's true, 58%. Got to be careful on that one. Investors betting on an inflation peak. So here's the issue with that one right there. That's in the markets right now. Right about now, maybe in the last few minutes, we've had James Bullard, the unbelievable problem maker in the Federal Reserve. He's been saying, they just came out and said he favors more aggressive interest rate hikes to contain inflation.
Such an idiot. Such an idiot.
Now, we've talked about this before, Bullard being an idiot. He was wrong when he said that we were going to see inflation was transitory. Now he doesn't realize that we're already seeing the effects, and we're seeing that inflation is coming down. They're looking at some old data. Well, I think it's Thursday this week. We're going to actually get some current data, and I think that's going to help the markets quite a bit. We'll see what happens when we get the jobs report on Friday as well. But Bullard is talking about being aggressive. Thankfully, he's only one voice, and everyone else may be a little bit smarter than him. So we'll hope on that one. That's all we can really say. He hopes that inflation will fade without help from the Fed, or his hopes that inflation will fade without help from the Feds have been disproven. Unbelievable. We're watching the markets. The markets are not reacting to his comments as we might have expected. We're looking at the 10-year Treasury down just a little bit right now. We'll watch that very, very closely for you. What else is going on? Disney came out with their new movie. Not doing too well, so we'll see. Could be a $100 million loss for Disney on their newest movie that came out over the holiday weekend. I wonder why people don't want to go see the Disney movie. Well, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't say anything more about that one.
What it is.
Being that my son works there. So let's see what else is going on. The Biden administration gives Chevron the ability to ramp up production of oil in Venezuela. Really, I think the president, I think I know what he's been doing out there over the well, no, wait a second. Don't say that about the president. I think that he might have been smoking some funny stuff out there over the holiday. Why would he be telling them to go and ramp up production in Venezuela and you can't do it here in the United States? Is it more jobs that he doesn't want to create here in the United States? Is it, he said, environment? Well, doesn't China contribute to the same global environment that we have here in the United States? I'm curious about, I thought that they might be contributing. Is it because their oil is so clean in Venezuela? No, it's not that, because they've got the dirtiest oil on the planet. I wonder, or maybe his son got a contract with Venezuela. Maybe that's where it all came from. Maybe Hunter is getting a new contract to do some work for Venezuela. And yeah, maybe Papa's helping out just a little bit. Don't know that. I'm just throwing it out there to see what's going on there. But we're watching all of these things for you. Dow Jones now Bullard's comments have now hit the tape. So the markets are down now 322 points with the comments coming out of Bullard. And also losses in shares in Disney and in Boeing. We're gonna see what's going on with all of these things. But I'm going to say right here, right now, that we're going to talk today quite a bit about debt consolidation and how you can protect the equity in your house. And have you waited too long to take advantage of what's going on in the market? We're going to talk about all that and more. We also are going to talk about your house could be the number one item on a home buyer's wish list during the holidays. What happens to your credit when you get evicted? All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in about a minute.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. S&P 500 now down 42.11. We'll see if that comes back a little bit. We'll be watching that for you. The 10-year Treasury is now flat. It's right at that zero number, so it has not changed at all from the close last Friday. 3.705. Mortgage-backed securities are down 37 basis points, which means rates are up. And yes, it's got to do with Bullard. And at this time every weekday, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. 30-year conforming loans closed locked on last Friday, according to OBMMI, at 6.56. 30-year jumbos at 6.772. 30-year FHA, 6.474. USDA for those in the rural areas, those locked at 6.425. Best loan on the market, but you have to earn it. That would be the 30-year VA loan. 6.467 was where that locked on Friday. We don't know how many points anybody might have paid. We don't know the APRs. We just know that according to the daily mortgage rate monitor powered by OBMMI, those are the numbers. Why? What's driving the market? What's driving it today? Well, it's all got to do with James Bullard and his comments, and as we suspected, shaking up the markets as he did last time when he spoke about needing to potentially raise the Fed funds rate to 7%. Markets recovered following that comment, and he's typically an outlier, but be on guard. We're going to see this volatility that we anticipate. It's also important to note that he'll be a voting member at one more meeting, the December 14th meeting, and then he is not a voting member for another 4 years. I think we need to get our applause meter on that one. Yeah, thankfully he won't get to vote anymore on trying to ruin the economy. So there's an article on Business Insider titled "Buckle In for a Brutal Free Fall in Home Prices and Housing in a Massive Bubble." So let's dissect this. The article is citing seven housing experts. I wonder if it's like the same 51 that helped tell us that there was no, well, I digress. 7 housing experts, and while they are certainly names you may recognize, economists, I'd not call them housing experts. Additionally, some are calling for a 10% decline, while others are calling for a 20% decline. 20% decline would be a doomsday-like scenario and something similar to what we saw during the housing bubble. From the peak in home prices in 2007 to the trough in 2009, home prices declined by 20%. And while some experts are predicting a similar type crash, but the dynamics are very different. Back in 2007, there were 4 million homes for sale. There's only 1.22 million today. And back then, builders were putting up record numbers of homes while demand was falling. Today, demand is waning, and builders learned their lesson, and single-family starts are down 22%, while permits are down 21%. Additionally, in 2008, the average equity in homes was 19% versus 58% today. As we mentioned last week, Case-Shiller is reporting that home values nationwide have only come down 1.5% from their peak. But the data is lagging 2 months. We anticipate further softness, but nothing close to a 20% decline. And when rates come down to 5% in the first half of next year, as we project they will, we think that all of the buyers in hibernation due to high rates are going to come back with the low supply environment. It sets up for a reacceleration in home prices. So let's just watch and see. There's no catalyst for what these people are talking about. What are we going to see this week? Case-Shiller is going to give us some more numbers tomorrow. FHFA is giving us home price index tomorrow. Again, I mentioned earlier, the ADP employment report will come out on Wednesday along with pending home sales. Thursday, we've got personal consumption expenditures. And on Friday, we've got the BLS jobs report. Watching all of that. And on top of that, we've got the technical analysis is looking strong for us. That is The Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So I've had some conversations, as we suspect, whenever we get into these holiday times, we get a lot of conversations about real estate. And being that I've been doing a home and finance radio show since 2010, we get a lot of questions about what do we see in the market, what's going on. And one of the big ones that we were talking about right now, especially having started the credit repair operation last year or earlier in the year, is when is debt consolidation a good idea? And let's first chat about debt consolidation and what it is. There's a couple of ways of doing debt consolidation. Right now, as I just mentioned to you, 58% equity in homes. So if you're a homeowner and can afford it based on your job, the best way to start out with is to give a call to a home loan strategist. That's what we do, right? And I'm not saying this to be self-serving. I've got a great team of people, but the bottom line here is explore options. I hear so many people, I'm going to call the credit counseling center. Okay, well, you can do that, but is that your best option? I'm going to file bankruptcy. Okay, you can do that. Is that your best option? Explore the home loan strategist. Why? Well, you've got equity there. And I know you don't want to tap into your home equity, but number one, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not giving any legal advice. If you file bankruptcy, there may be limitations on how much home equity you can have before the court will force you to tap into it. Again, I'm not the expert on that. But let's consider, if you've got debts, and say you have $50,000 or $75,000 in debts, and I know sounds like a lot of money, it is. And I also know there's a lot of people that are in that situation. So what do? Well, you might take a look and see, what is your blended household interest rate? Your blended household interest rate. And what that is we throw into a calculator what your mortgage is. And you may have gotten a great mortgage at 2.5%, 3.5%, but that's only a piece of your financial, your debt side of your balance sheet. So let's take a look at everything. Put that in there, put the credit cards in there. They're probably at 24%. They may be going up because some of them are tied to prime rate, and prime rate is tied to the Fed funds rate. It's going up, and we anticipate that'll go up another 0.5% in December. So that's been going up. You look at all of these debts and put them all together and say, you know something? What if I take and pay everything off? That's one version of debt consolidation. You take a new loan out on your real estate because you may say, okay, well, I've got that 3.5% mortgage, but by the time I make a weighted average of all my debts, then maybe I'm looking at 7.5%, 8%. It's irrelevant what that price number is right now. Why do I say it's irrelevant? Well, the reason that I say that it's irrelevant is because that number right there is something you can't do anything with, right? If you've got a 3.5% mortgage, great. Or you've got a 7 or 8% mortgage, that's fine. It's all about the strategy. You're getting everything paid off, and you're going to minimize your payments on a monthly basis. So by paying all those things off, even though you've got a higher interest rate, you're bundling it all together, and your household debt service, the amount of money it takes to pay all of your bills on the credit cards, the cars, the student loans. I know those are in forbearance right now, unless it's the private ones. But put all of that stuff together, pay it all off. Public student loans, the federal student loans, I'm saying don't pay those off. Would I say makes payments into a side account? Yes. While there's no interest, make the payments into a side account. That way, when they finally decide what they're going to do, if you have to start making payments again, you've got a big lump sum of money to make those payments. But I digress. You're going to pay all of that off because when you're doing your loans right now, when you do a home loan right now, the big issue is that you're going to get the most expensive form of a loan. It's called a cash out refinance. Cash out refinance. And we're only going to keep that for about 6 months. Why are we only keeping it for 6 months? Well, I just told you, if you're listening to the Mortgage Minute just a few minutes ago, I shared with you that we're forecasting interest rates are going to go down into the low fives. Well, when that happens, second, third quarter of next year, maybe fourth quarter of next year, well, then what we're going to be looking at is we're going to say, we've already taken care of the debts. We've already got taken care of the cash out hit that we're going to get on the new loan. And we're going to restructure that loan one more time and get you into a lower interest rate for the long term. Now, you say, well, Ron, you're just doing that because it's self-serving and you get 2 loans. Well, it does get 2 loans, but it's for your benefit. The idea is, what is that 7% loan going to cost you for 6 months versus what it's going to benefit you in the long run? Maybe cost you a couple $100, right? It's because the difference between a 7% loan and a 5% loan for 6 months, the payment on that, not going to be a huge amount of money. So we're going to redo that, and we can build the costs into it. Do we want to? We'll get you a total cost analysis so we understand whether it makes sense for you to do that or not. Now, Chris, great question. Are banks doing HELOCs? Yes, they're doing HELOCs, but we want to stay away from that. Why? Well, when you do the HELOC, what that's going to do for you is you're going to be able to pay off those debts, but the HELOC is going to be tied to prime rate. That's going to go up as well as interest rates, as the Federal Reserve increases interest rates. And then when it comes time to do that, redo the loan down the road, when we're at that 5% interest rate or 5.5%, no guarantees, but if our forecast is correct, when we get there, now we're back in the sense of doing a cash out refinance again. We haven't taken care of that. We haven't got that out of the way. We want to do that cash out refinance right now. That way we get that out of the way. The HELOC will make us do a cash out later. So not only are you going to pay more money for the HELOC because it's a higher interest rate. HELOC is a home equity line of credit. So not only are you paying more for that in the interest rate, but down the road as part of the strategy, it's going to cost you again. So that's not the best strategy in the world. We're going to continue this conversation when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Your house could be the number one item on a home buyer's wish list. What happens to your credit when you get evicted? All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in about a minute.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for other household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily Home and Finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, or student loans, your family could potentially save $500 or more per month by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule an appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. I love Home Scout. It's a great, great tool, not just because we give it to you and we give it to you for free, but the information that you glean from it. In the first tab, you can search for properties all over the country. If you're thinking about moving to or from Texas, you want to go to California. Well, we got realtors that'll help you with California stuff. But if you're going to Texas or Montana or Idaho or wherever, RSR Home Scout, they've got about 97% of the properties in the country are on that tool. And you can actually do your own home scouting, your own home search right on there. Your house could be the number one item on a home buyer's wish list during the holidays. Each year, homeowners planning to make a move are faced with a decision. Sell their house during the holidays or wait. And others who have already listed their homes may think about removing their listings and waiting until the new year to go back on the market. The truth is, many buyers want to purchase a home for the holidays, and your house might be just what they're looking for. Here are 5 great reasons you should not wait to sell your house. Number 1, while the supply of homes for sale has increased this year, there still are not enough homes on the market to keep up with buyer demand. As Nadia Evangelo, senior economist and director of forecasting at the National Association of Realtors, NAR, explains, quote, there's still this gap between demand and supply because we were underbuilding for many years. So now we see demand is slowing, but it still outpaces supply, unquote. Number 2, serious home buyers are out looking right now. Millennials are driving home buying demand today, and many are eager to make a purchase. Mark Fleming, chief economist of First American, explains, quote, while the frenzy of 2021, the largest living generation, the millennials, will continue to age into their prime home buying years, creating a demographic tailwind for the housing market, unquote. Number 3, the desire to own a home doesn't stop during the holidays. In fact, homes decorated for the holidays appeal to many buyers, plus purchasers who look for homes during the holidays are ready to buy. Number 4, you can restrict the showings in your house to days and times that are most convenient for you. That can help you minimize disruptions, which is especially important this time of year. Number 5, rents have skyrocketed in recent years, and many buyers are looking to escape rising rents and avoid falling into the rental trap for another year. As an article from Zillow says, quote, over the next 12 months, rents are expected to grow more than inflation, the stock market, and home values, unquote. Over the next 12 months, rents are expected to grow more than inflation, the stock market, and home values. Your home could be their ticket to leaving renting behind for good. Bottom line, there are still many reasons it makes sense to list your house during the holiday season. Let's chat about it. Let's set a game plan for you, see what's right or wrong for you. And as always, we ask, if you have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, or borrow on real estate, can we count on you to give them our number? Introduce us? Send a text with our number and them on the same text, and we'll reach out and see how we can be of service. That's the Real-Time Real Estate segment, again, brought to you by rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. Continue our conversation. When is debt consolidation a good idea? So we started chatting about that in the last segment, talking about the idea of consolidating all your debts. It starts with getting a blended household interest rate. So what I want you to do there is just send either an email or with PDFs, however you want to do it. The easiest thing to do is to take a copy. You can take a marker and black out account numbers if you want. I don't care. And send over your mortgage statement and a copy of all of your other regular monthly bill statements, not utilities, but all credit cards, all auto, all student loan, all installment loans, whatever you might have, personal loans, any of that. Send all of it. Send it to RJ at ronsiegelradio.com, RJ at ronsiegelradio.com. We'll throw it into our blended calculator. So it's a blended debt calculator, and we'll figure out what is your household debt. And we'll look at it and say, does this make sense to adjust? It may or may not. It may make sense that, we include bills A, B, C, and D and not F and G or whatever. Forgot about E. That's in there too. right? But we may say that we're going to consolidate all of those. There's an option for you. How much money will that save you? Now, we have one client, private client of ours. It saved them, are you ready? $1,300 per month. $1,300 per month. That's significant. Now, the other beauty of this is get started today, and your first payment on the new loan is February 1. So I digress. Let's get back to why it's so good for you. So we're going to put all that into the blended household calculator. We're going to see what that does. Now, the other thing I did not mention in the last segment was when you go to do step 2, and this is what I call the mortgage 2-step. When we go to step 2, and Josh, we can even use that for the headline of this section, the mortgage 2-step. When we get to step 2, I know he's laughing at me. When we get to step 2, the likelihood is your credit scores are going to be much better than they are today. Why? Because we're not going to recommend closing any of those credit cards. If you've got a car payment that we pay off over after 6 months, that's going to show as a paid installment loan. If you follow the instructions and maintain the zero balance or minimal balance on the credit cards that we pay off, that's going to show a beneficial utilization. So your utilizations go from where you're overextended right now to where you've got a very minimal utilization. We'll show you how, if you go, I'll find the segment. We tell you about going and building how to build your credit by using your credit properly. Not only paying the bills properly, because we already paid those off, you're going to look at rsrccpayment.com, so you pay your bills correctly going forward. And we keep those credit cards active. But by doing these things, your FICO credit score, I'm not worried about your Vantage score, your credit score, your FICO score is going to go up. Now, you can monitor that if you want, cleanall3.com. Cleanall3.com, you can go and get that. It does cost you a little bit of money to monitor it every month. It costs you $1 to get started. But the bottom line here is your scores will be higher, your debts will be lower, your debt-to-income ratio will be better, so your interest rate will be maximized. You're going to get the best rate you can qualify for by following this game plan, the mortgage 2-step. Now, what are the other options for debt consolidation? Yeah, I know. You can go to the consolidation company. There's another one that you can do. It's going to get you in trouble, but I'll tell you about it. I just heard it on the business channel this morning. Go and get, if you qualify, a zero interest balance transfer credit card. Why is that going to get you in trouble? Because you are a human. And in human nature, what ends up happening is you're going to go and you're going to get the balance transfer credit card and transfer the balance from one credit card to another. It's got a zero interest rate for the trial period. And then you're going to go back and you're going to run up the credit card bill on the other one. It happens every time. I know you're not the one, but it happens every time. So the balance transfer credit card, it is an option. You'll hear about it. I didn't want you to think I forgot about it. No, I understand it. I know it. And it's not a good idea for you. Calling the companies and trying to consolidate. There is a scam out there. I'm going to tell you the scam, debt consolidation scam. I don't know if it's not illegal, but it's not good for you either. So you've got these companies that say, you know something, we can negotiate with your creditors. Pay us first. You're going to send them, they're going to take all your credit card bills and they're going to say, okay, you've got $10,000 in credit card debt and we want you to start sending us $500. Don't make your credit card payments. You're going to make that $500 payment to us. We're going to accumulate that money. And then what we're going to do is when there's enough money there, we're going to go to credit card number 1 and we'll say, we'll pay you 10 cents on the dollar. They're going to say no. They go to credit card number 2 and they're going to say, we're going to pay you 10 cents on the dollar. Do you want it? and you've got to agree to accept that as payment in full. And while they're accumulating the money, your credit score is getting hammered. It's dropping quicker than I don't know what. It's just dropping quick. It's dropping quickly. They might even start talking about suing you because you're not making the payments on your debt. So the issue here becomes, be careful of that one. Now, I can tell you through the credit repair service, we will help you. Give you the coaching to call your creditors and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Creditor, I'm having some problems. Can you help me? Can we get on a payment plan? I want to pay you, but I just need a little bit of help. They might be willing to freeze your account. They might be willing to reduce the interest rate so that they know they're getting something all the time. And we'll coach you on how to do that. We'll talk more about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, also, what happens to your credit when you get evicted? All that, more. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in about a minute.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report, it is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer got the solutions, and yes, we've got a couple days left for the free credit audit. We'll probably start charging after the first of the month, but right now, free credit audit. You do need to get a specific $1 credit report, and then you'll get the free credit audit. It's about 13 pages, goes through a lot of information for you, and there's also availability of a do-it-yourself book on how to do-it-yourself credit. All that available for you. CreditSanitizer.com. So let's take a look and see what happens to your credit when you get evicted. Getting evicted from your home can be an extremely traumatic experience caused by financial distress. Luckily, the fact that you were evicted does not show up on your credit report. However, there are some eviction-related financial issues that can negatively affect your credit score, make it tougher to qualify for credit, and even affect your ability to find somewhere else to live. What happens during eviction? When your landlord moves to evict you from your rental home, you receive an eviction notice that says you are in violation of the lease agreement. Eviction notices can be curable, which means you can stay in the home by fixing a certain issue like paying rent that's past due, or they can be incurable, which means you are required to vacate your home by a certain date. Reasons you may receive an eviction notice include failing to pay your rent, staying in your home past the terms of the lease, causing property damage beyond normal wear and tear, and otherwise violating terms of the lease agreement. You may also be evicted if the property manager is selling the home you reside in. Eviction laws can differ between states, counties, and even towns or cities. Depending upon where you live, you may need to vacate the property within a predetermined amount of time as outlined in the eviction notice. In many cases, you do not respond to the notice. In many cases, if you do not respond to the notice, either by fixing the issues in a curable notice or by moving out, the landlord may go to court to get a judgment that allows law enforcement to require you to vacate the property. Usually, you have the option to appear in court to fight the eviction. How does getting evicted affect your credit? Evictions won't show up on your credit report, but there are ways that eviction-related issues can impact your credit directly or indirectly. When you fail to pay your rent on time, the landlord may report the late payment to the credit bureaus after 30 days. Not all landlords report late payments, but some do. Payment history is a single most important factor in determining your credit score, and one late payment can do a lot of damage, especially if you previously had excellent credit. Accounts and collections show up on your credit report and can lower your credit score. If the landlord sells your debt to a collection agency, the information can negatively impact your credit. If the landlord sues you for unpaid debts and wins a court judgment against you, that judgment becomes a matter of public record. While it won't show up on your credit report, lenders and landlords have the ability to search for that information. In this way, court judgments could affect your ability to qualify for credit and even rent homes in the future. If you amassed a lot of credit card debt to stay afloat as you tried to make your rent payments, you may have increased your credit utilization ratio to a level that negatively impacts your credit score. Taking on too much debt, including credit cards and personal loans, can negatively affect your credit if it ends up becoming unmanageable. Getting evicted can create a domino effect that leads to other financial problems like failing to pay other bills on time. These issues can snowball into multiple credit problems. In some cases, declaring bankruptcy can help you stop or delay eviction proceedings and stay in your home, at least temporarily, depending upon where you are in the eviction process. It can also help you wipe the slate clean on existing debts or work out a repayment plan with your creditors. But bankruptcy can negatively affect your credit and affect your credit score for 7 to 10 years, depending on the type of bankruptcy. Having eviction-related credit issues can make it more difficult to get approved for credit, and the credit you do qualify for will have less favorable terms. You may even have trouble qualifying for certain jobs or renting certain homes, as some employers and landlords run credit checks or tenant screening checks. Eviction court judgments are also a matter of public record and available to anyone who takes the time to look. How to minimize damage to your credit? The best way to keep an eviction from negatively impacting your credit is to avoid getting an eviction notice in the first place. Make sure you do understand the terms of your lease agreement and what is expected from you as a tenant. If you're having trouble making rent payments, the landlord may be willing to work with you instead of going through the process of eviction, which can be time-consuming and expensive. But you'll need to let your landlord know before you start missing rent payments. Do what you can to settle unpaid debts before they get reported to the credit bureaus. You may be able to stay in your home and avoid damage to your credit score if you pay as soon as possible or work out a payment agreement with the landlord. Or you can pay your debt and mutually agree to end the lease early to avoid eviction proceedings. If you're past the point of negotiations, moving out voluntarily can help you avoid an eviction judgment or civil judgment against you. Losing a civil suit for unpaid rent can result in your wages getting garnished and make it harder for you to rent again. If your debt is sent to collections, you may be able to negotiate and settle the debt for less than the original amount owed. Once it's paid, the debt can show up with a zero balance on your credit report, and some of the newer credit scoring models won't factor it into your credit score. The debt can remain on your credit report until 7 years from when it was first reported. Consider signing up for credit monitoring service to receive regular copies of your credit report. That's cleanall3.com, cleanall3.com, and get notified when new information is added to your credit file. Whether you've had to move out or you've stayed in your home, it's important to ensure that the information in your credit report is fair and accurate. And that's the basis of all credit repair. The credit repair basically says anything that's on your credit report must be complete, it must be accurate, and it must be verifiable. If it is not complete, if it is not accurate, and if it's not verifiable, the bureaus must remove it. Now, do they always do it right away? No. Do they have an incentive to keep it on there? Yes, in my opinion, they do. Because the incentive is that they're going to continue to sell your information, and the lower your score is, the more they can sell it. Just throwing that out there for you. That's your Credit Matters segment brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. What are you doing about it? So just to finish up our conversation on debt consolidation, a good idea. So the bottom line here is we've given you a few different things. Number one is getting the blended household interest rate and looking at a debt consolidation loan mortgage, the mortgage two-step. The other one is that you can actually look at a home equity line of credit, which I told you that's going to continue to increase your payments, but it is an option for you. It is quick. Again, not as good an option, but it is there. We talked about the scam of the debt consolidation companies that say they're going to pay you, that you pay them. Now, what is the other part of it that I missed? Who gets their money first? They do. They take their fee, which is a lot. They take their fee before anybody gets paid or any offers are made. We discussed the idea of bankruptcy. So if you've got equity in your home, you don't want to be doing that because that's going to hurt you for a longer period of time, although there are strategies to deal with that as well. So the bottom line is there's a lot of strategies. What am I going to recommend to you? I don't know. I can tell you this. If you send your information to us, RJ at ronsiegelradio.com, RJ at ronsiegelradio.com, we'll take a look at it for you for free. We'll give you several options. We may say that calling the consumer collection bureaus is the right answer for you. And they negotiate with your creditors. They were set up as part of the law, and they negotiate with your creditors. But if you own a home and you've got a bunch of equity there may be a much better way that's a short-term or a very quick solution for you. And as this one other family that we did the scenario for mentioned to you, $1,300 a month. What do they do with that? Well, they can put it back on the principal of the property on their new loan, and that helps them pay it off that much quicker. Maybe they want to put 1,000 of it toward the new loan and keep 300 so that there's got a rainy day fund handy. All of those things are possible. We'll show them all to you in the process. We just need to make that call to get started. That's the debt consolidation. When is it a good idea? As soon as you're not sleeping at night. As soon as you're not sleeping at night. That's basically the time when it's a good idea. What do you have to lose? A little bit of your time? Well, you're already stressed. So the bottom line there is make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or just send the documents in. Like I say, put a black line through your account number. We don't want it. You're going to put a black line through your address. We don't care. We might need to know what county you're in, what city and state you live, what city you're in or state you're in. Different rules for different places. So that we may need to know. But other than that, there's nothing that's there that's not public information already. So let's chat about that. We'll also look and see where are your FICO scores. You can get that $1 report from cleanall3.com, cleanall3.com. And again, that's just a report that costs you $1. You use it, get what you need out of it, and then you decide, do you want to keep monitoring or do you want to get rid of it? And we do that we can help you with that during the credit audit when we do that audit report and get that for you. And again, the audit report is free at least till the end of this month. I don't know what we're going to charge for it next month, but right now until the end of November, it's free. All you need to do is go to creditsanitizer.com, put the information in there that we need to get you started there. We'll send you a link to get the $1 credit report, and you'll be all set to move on with that. Hope that answers the question. When is debt consolidation a good idea? If you have questions on it, give me a call, 800-306-1990. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house or your bank account. I don't even know what we're talking about here anymore. My voice is good. I think I got to get a drink, Josh. I need it, and you can fix this all up. But hey, you know something? Just remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.